Hi guys, and welcome back. Another video install. Today we're playing, I think we're playing Fun Mix again. Yep, we're playing Fun Mix. 2-4. Show you the rotation here. We got stud 8 or better, deuce to 7 triple draw, ace to 5 triple draw, deuce to 7 Raz, limit Omaha 8 or better, Badoosie, and Badoogie. So we're starting right now in the 8 or better stud game. 8 or better stud as usual. There's always a stud high hand, and then there is a qualifier for low. You have 5 cards, 8 or better, unpaired. The lowest hand will get half the pot. Low in this game is ace to 5 Raz. Here we have a 5 of clubs up. Blue brought it in with a 4. We're going to open here with ace 8 in the hole. Let's say in a full ring game, maybe like in an 8-handed game, this would be pretty marginal, but in a short-handed game with a face card up behind me, I think that's a pretty easy open. 6-4-9 against the jack. Josh isn't really in the steal position here, so I'm going to give him a little bit of credit for something like a high hand. He could have 3 hearts or something like that, but I think my hand is pretty bad to continue, so I'm just going to fold. And CT calls too, which makes my equity even worse. So the price I'm getting really doesn't matter because my equity goes down when CT enters the pot. And CT catches good on 4. Josh catches pretty good on 4 too. Now CT catches, I would say, not great, but for his board it's okay. Like obviously the 9 isn't great, but he can still make some hidden straights with the 9 occasionally when he's got like 7-8 in the hole. He also catches a club with it. Now he open pairs 5s and checks to Josh. I tend to bet a fair bit on 6th Street there. And then CT does bet 8s and 5s on the river, which is good. Josh chose not to bet 6th Street, so usually Josh has 1 pair there, staring at an open pair on CT's board. So that was a pretty good bet. Josh limps a 9 here. Blue raises an ace. And she tends to be, I would say, definitely a little bit on the, just a little bit on the tighter side. So we're going to give that raise a little bit of respect. Everyone bricks here. And it just checks around. Nothing I can really do on 5th Street here. I do catch an ace. Just trying to think if I can actually like rep anything though, and I don't think I can. If I did have aces, I would bet here, but there's an ace exposed. I do make a 7 low on the river. I run 7 low off, and I am going to bet because if Josh somehow has a better low than me, the only way I think that can realistically happen is, I mean, I guess theoretically he could have a 6 low with ace king high, but that seems very unlikely given the fact he limped a 9. And we actually get two folds, and we got blue to fold ace king high, which was nice. So we went all of it there. Split 8s here. Josh is going to open a 7. And CT opens a 10. And I do have split 8s with a 9. I'm going to fold to his open just because I don't think he's going to open very lightly here with a 10, and I got a 7 behind me still as well. So I'm going to give him a little bit of credit and fold. CT bets into a suited a7, and when Josh checks, and Josh can be pretty wide, but that's pretty much the best card for Josh's range there, is catching an ace, a low card, and a suited one. Because you can remember, like, aces in 8 or better stud are pretty much the jokers. What did Josh have? Josh had a couple bricks, it looks like, somewhere. He at least had 1 brick. But those aces are I'm going to fold. I have an 8-5-6 here, really. Like, if I'm going to draw, I'm going to draw 2 at the 8-5-6, but I'm just going to fold. The kind of the roughest draw. Deuce to 7 triple draw. The best hand is 7-5-4-3-2. Definitely want to be starting smoother from the bottom up. Remember, you always count down your high card. So my high card here, like if I drew out the 8, I'm like drawing at an 8. 3-7 here with throwaway 9s most times on the first draw. I'm going to open the 3-7 into Josh and draw 3. Move this a little back here. There we go. And we make a wheel. What a draw. We're just going to bet right into Josh. And we're just going to pat. obviously. We got the best hand possible. And we're just going to try to get as much action as we possibly can. Not going to go for a check raise because these are the type of hands, like I don't tend to go for check raises with like the best hand possible. And the reason why is I want to get to the river, 5-7 here, and I'm going to fold. I want to get to the river, and if I bet, I want him to raise, and I want to be able to 3-bet. If I decide to check raise him and he has like a good low but marginal, I think he just has to call. But if I go bet, he raises, I get an extra bet, or like there's a possibility if he's got a really good hand, he could 4-bet. I just want to extract max value, especially going from 3 to pat. Got a hand brewing here. While we watch this hand, just remember, like, subscribe, do all the good stuff that most people do for their videos on YouTube. If you guys are looking to sign up for a Phenom account, below is a link. Please use it. It motivates me to keep making the videos and helps me out. If you guys had any questions or comments, also leave those below too. I'm happy to get back to you. Also got my email on there if you guys want to email me at all. All right, Deuce 7 triple draw here. Rags, pretty much a 1-card draw at the 7, so fold. Deuce 4, 7, 8, 9. Kind of an interesting combination here in the small blind. Like I could go from anywhere from drawing 2 to pat. It just kind of depends how I want to play this one. I'm going to 3-bet against Josh because I think Josh can be a little bit wide, and I'm going to draw at the 1-card 8. And I catch another 9, so now I'm just going to bet and pat my hand. Out of position. He takes 2 again. And he folds. So that's a nice win. Nice result. And now again, got to be a little bit careful in this mix just because we went from deuce to 7 to ace to 5. Ace deuce 7 here on the button I think would be a little bit too weak to open. So even if it got to me, I think I would fold that one. Goes 2-2. Last draw. It's going to go 1 pat. And I didn't see what Josh made. I thought he made 86, but he must have made a pair. And then blue makes 87. Checks back in position. I think that's fine from going 2 to pat. I definitely think when you go from a 2 to pat hand, you definitely should bet thin. The reason being is a lot of times it looks like you might be snowing. It looks like you might have made like 2 pair trips, something like that you might decide to snow with, or maybe you just made a really bad hand and just like, well, I don't want to draw at this and I want my opportunity to take the pot away, especially if my opponent showed weakness. But that also means you need to, the times you make a decent hand, you need to bet for value. I think blue's check back there with 87 though is fine. Like she's going to make better 8s, lots of 7s, etc. But if Josh didn't win that hand, obviously he was drawing at like a hand that was dead to a 7 and dead to a really good 8. Excuse me, Josh makes a 6 there. I think that's number 4. It's a pretty hand. 3-card draw to wheel here. We fold under the gun. In a 5-handed game, we would open that on the button. Goes 1-1, last draw. Oh, CT goes for a check raise. Does with number 3. Josh calls with a 7. I don't think I've ever seen CT take that line before, so that's good to note. Definitely too, over time, like the more you play with your opponents, 3-5 here and ace to 5 I'm going to fold. Definitely over time, your opponents will get definitely just trickier over time. Most of them anyways will. I know a lot of people who I used to play with live games who just very slowly got better, or sometimes they just I would almost say like they didn't get better. So, but in general, I mean, most of the players I've ever played with, they pick up on habits of the good players, kind of like monkey see, monkey do, and they mimic a lot of times what you do. So occasionally you'll go for a check raise, and sooner or later they'll figure out that maybe I should go for a check raise. And then CT pats and checks an 8-6. Didn't see if Cadillac. I thought Cadillac might have taken 2 there. Cadillac took 2 there. Probably CT should just bet. 3-4-6 here on the button. And we're gonna open. Definitely CT folds. 2-2. Pick up a block 6 and an 8. I'm going to check call and draw 2 again. I'm not going to keep an 8 yet. Position, do catch the deuce, so now we got a 6 draw. Ditch the jack, check call. And we make number 2. Again, this is a hand that I want to go, I believe, for a bet 3 bet. And if, let's say, wow, he called me with a king. Guess it's probably okay, but if I'm over bluffing, but I don't know if that's a loose call or not. The more I think about it, I'd have to think about that specific one. But going back to the reason I want to bet 3 bet that hand is I obviously want to go for value. I want to most likely like check raise. I would probably check raise like number, I think the one that I used to do the most with was like number 3 or number 4. So like 6-5-3-2-1 or 6-5-4-2-1. And the reason being is like it has enough value where you can check raise and call a 3 bet. But again, if you miss value with a wheel, it's kind of catastrophic. So deuce to 7 Ras here. Best hand is 7-5-4-3-2. I was kind of laughing with a friend of mine. That so far my most watched video is a plain deuce to 7 Ras game. I guess there's no deuce to 7 Ras content out there, but the best hand is 7-5-4-3-2. You definitely want to build from the bottom up if you can do it. So obviously you're looking for like super smooth draws, very similar to what like a deuce to 7 triple draw hand might look like opening early position, something like deuce 3-7, like any deuce, any 7 with any card in between. 9-8-3 is relatively okay. With the players and the hands behind me in the 7-8, I think this is like somewhat close, and I'm just going to fold. Josh is pretty aggressive too. I have to think on this one a little bit because I think it's close. I definitely don't think I should be opening 8-3-9 from anywhere early position. It's just more like middle-ish with other cards behind you. What should you do? And interesting that Cadillac's going to check back after raising. So he was just trying to... Josh is representing. He had deuce 4 in the hole, which... Because I'm going to fold my hand here real quick. But Josh... from my experience, usually jams, I would say, on 3rd Street more often than not. So I'm kind of surprised that he had deuce 4 in the hole. I wouldn't actually be surprised if he somehow had the king in the hole. But that's just my experience. You got to adjust. I'm not sure if he's adjusting or if that's just my initial read on the situation. Gonna fold the 8-6 here with the jack. If I had a deuce in my hand, or maybe like a 4 better, I might open with a 5 behind me. And Josh defends pretty light. Not that it matters real much because like I have a jack and he has a jack, but you definitely want to play hands where you can realize your equity. 7-3-5 is an okay hand, and we're definitely going to open it. Don't love the fact that Josh has a deuce. See, but this is what I mean. Like, I opened from an early position. Now Josh not two bets me. And from a steal position, he decided to flat call. So it actually makes more sense to me. Like, I think Josh had actually had a king in his hand. Now the other hand. And Queen Jack Deuce. I'm more likely thinking he's going to check call here. But there's not much I can realistically do. He catches a 5. I have to bet the 3. And he just pays off so and now I get bet into on the river, which is just super infuriating in some ways, but like I just have to fold my hand. Like I would go for bluff raises against some people, but Josh just doesn't seem to fold. So it doesn't make much sense. And my board is 7 6 3 7 or something like that. Like I mean my board has my board has basically like 3 cards to a 7. So like he's betting some strength there. King 3 5 and the cutoff isn't open. 2 kings with 2 low cards in Omaha are better. But don't get a really great, obviously this flop, this 9-8-3 flop's not great. I'd say this board is actually more beneficial to blue than anyone. We're just going to check this one back again. And then 8's actually a good card for us in some ways. Like now our overpair. It's tough when blue calls. I mean, Josh could definitely be bluffing here, but when blue like snap calls, like I expect her to have a straight or better. Yeah, she has Jack 7, and Josh had 9. I'm not sure. I think he was actually turning his hand into a bluff. Queen Jack 10-9, even though it looks really pretty, it's just a fold. These high hands, unless they like block some sort of aces or have an ace in their hand themselves, they just they're not gonna flop well enough on their own, often enough, because there's gonna be a low out there. Again, playing limit Omaha high low, you know, you're something like 40% of the time, half the pot's gonna be gone, and you can't win it with this hand. Ace 4 5 5 with a suited ace. Definitely play this one. I'm going to call against Josh here. Really strong flop here. Second nut low, nut flush draw. 2 blockers to the straight. Not that that really matters too much, but this is just a super easy check raise. I'm not trying to click on that. And we make nut second nut on the turn. Yeah, so we get that one through. We scoop that one, which is nice. And 2 4 9 7 here in the small blind. I'm gonna go ahead and call. Usually I play a more raise or fold strategy. Probably should actually just be doing that. And we make Deuce 4 here on the turn against someone who didn't raise pre-flop. So my Deuce 4, I expect that to be good. Like we flopped pretty good on that flop with 7 and a Deuce 4 low draw. 2 5 5 6 here on the button. If folded, we open, and probably against anyone, if they had opened, we'd probably just give up and just fold. It looks like a pretty hand with 4 low cards, 4 cards 6 and under, but it's kind of mediocre. We get led into her on this board, and again, like my range should be stronger than his, especially with low cards, but I think Josh does some funky things with it. Like I don't think the big blind should be leading on this board into the in position opener. I mean, that's an okay river, especially since we have 2 5s in our hand, and just go ahead and bet. Like, yeah, that play is actually really bad on his part. I think, again, I'm not trying to pick on Josh because I just don't think he has any experience in a lot of these games. Ace Jack 6 7 is close triple suited, but again, I'm going to use my experience against I think some of the inexperienced players. Pretty underwhelming flop. I keep clicking on his thing, but I'm going to call here with the Jack. Interesting turn. We make aces and jacks and have kind of a mediocre low draw. I would consider like raising this hand, but I'm just going to call to try to like isolate myself between Josh and me. Josh and I don't even know if that's right, but I'm going to go ahead and still call here with aces and jacks against Josh. kind of strange. I mean, he's representing a naked queen 10 or maybe a set of 9s. I guess we just fold now, given this action. He does have queen 10. And Josh had aces and 4s, so we did have Josh beat. So Badusi here we have, do we have 4, 5, 7? No, we don't. We don't have the 4, 5, 7. We would open 4, 5, 7 out of the gun, but the 5 and the 7 are suited. Josh's 3-bet there pre-flop is fine, but Cadillac's cold call there I think is a little too loose. Going back to the hand where Josh had the queen, queen, jack, 9, like when I'm opening the button and he has 4 high cards, again, just based on card removal, I have more low cards now in my range than he does. So when the flop comes 4-4 deuce, like I just, you know, like my range should really be hitting that flop, especially when he has all high cards in his hand. And actually the ace on the river is like a terrible card for him, because I would bet probably like aces up, any live card, any full house, any straight. Like he really can't win on that board unless I kind of have the hand that I have. It was just kind of a random fluke that I feel like I had that hand. So I don't think his call on the river is that good. Again, I'm not trying to pick on an individual player, especially if they ever watch the video, but I definitely want anyone who is watching this and trying to learn, I just want to point out the very obvious mistakes that you guys should try to avoid as well. We have a pat 1-1, check to blue, and man, the 2-3-4 with the 87 against a 1-1 probably should bet the river. Good equity both ways, especially in the deuce. And the 2-3-4 might even get like a better Paducah to fold if he bets. And it's one of those hands too where he would much rather bet his hand versus checking his hand and then letting his opponents play perfectly against him. And sometimes like your opponents will bet worse hands, don't get me wrong, than what you have, but they're never going to miss a bet with like they're going to put you in more tough positions when you check to them versus when you bet into them. Looks like it goes raised by blue and then call. And Cadillac takes 1. Small blind, and usually if I have a 1-card draw, I'm 3-betting my whole range to try to get it heads up. I mean, you can be trapped, like in these split pot games, again, Badusi, I should reiterate, it's 7-5-4-3-2. There's two pots at all times. There's no qualifier for this one, meaning that the best 7-5, the best deuce to 7 hand is going to get half the pot, and the best Badugi. The best Badugi in this game is 5-4-3-2. All different suits, ace plays high, and the deuce to 7 straights and flushes count against you. But Daisy, it's a little bit different. 2, 6, 7 here in the cutoff. We're going to open. We're not going to keep the 8 at this point. I don't usually keep 8s early on unless they're part of my my 3 or 4 card or my 3 card or my Badugi. And we make 2, 3, 6, 7. We're going to go ahead and bet this one in position and draw 1. Usually I keep most of my 7 draws. And we did improve to a 7 Badugi. We're still going to bet again. And draw 1, it goes 1-1-1. Make a 9. And if it gets checked to me, I will definitely bet this hand. And I actually expect to scoop a fair bit here, because I expect my 7 Badugi to be good almost always, given the action. And unless blue might be playing a little bit tight, I expect my 9 to be good too. Josh open, CT calls 3-3. Check bet call 1. CT takes 3 again. Josh also does something too that I highly recommend to you guys not do. He has the raise any button clicked, and again, this is kind of a mistake, like one of the new poker sites in general. But when he clicks that button, it basically means like it says raise. It doesn't say bet, and it's supposed to say bet instead of raise, obviously. But it's just a flaw in the code right now. So basically, what it means is that Josh has the raise any button on, and it's a tell in a lot of ways that like he wants to raise you no matter what you do in that situation. So it's not just like a regular bet. So if you're ever in a situation now, you know your opponent wants to raise you no matter what you do. So it's giving away usually that usually your opponent has a strong hand. So I don't recommend doing it. Good sources of information on these games too. I keep recommending Ken Lowe's book, Mixed Games. Just really good on the introduction, and overall I would say you get a fair bit of theory too in a lot of the games. I don't think Badugi's in there for sure. I don't know if Badusi and Badesi are, but if you're watching here, you should be getting some good content as well. Josh Limp's in here, which definitely in one-winner games like Deuce to 7 Badugi, Limit Omaha, with no antes. Like, I think those games are just, they should be 100% raise or fold pre-draw or pre-flop. Now CT's definitely should be getting the right price to call here for sure. There are some situations where sometimes you're not getting the right price to draw at your Badugi. But that situation, I think, with all the action that it looked like they played out on after the first draw, I think it's clearly he's getting the right price to draw, especially if Josh went 2 to Pat. When you go 2 to Pat, you have to look at like what their range looks like. Like, if you look at the, like, say I start Ace Deuce 3, right, or 3-2-1, 3 card. If you look at the different hands that I can have in that situation, or like, for the most part, I think my average hand is going to be somewhere around an 8. So let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 5, and then yeah, the 5 on the other side. So I think my average hand is like somewhere right around an 8. But if he goes 2 to Pat, his average hand is usually around like a 10-9, so like a kind of a roughish 10. So knowing like the distribution of Badugis and like what your average hand is when you go 2 to Pat versus 1 to Pat is pretty important, because like then you play accordingly. Like if 2 players have been drawing 1 from like an early position, and on the river it goes bet raise, you know, a hand that you would probably put more action in with like an 8 or a 9 or something like that against a player who took 2, you know, now you're 7, maybe you're, you know, 8, might become, I would say like it's a call, but it might be a crying call a lot of times, depending on like your opponent and their strength. Like if blue raised me on like a river like that, I would be very sad calling like maybe a 7. But you know, when those ranges are really tight, like those ranges are really well defined, like when 2 players with like good ranges make Badugis, and you know, the game's just kind of like shuts down a little bit pretty quick. Definitely in the higher limits though, like in a 1-1 spot, like, you know, you will see 4 bets on the river with like an 8, just because players are trying to outmaneuver each other. You know, they're trying to bet their 3 cards against each other on the river, and then like when you make a Badugi, like if this player is betting his 3 card, then obviously I want to raise all Badugis, and well, if they're raising all Badugis, therefore I should be raising like, you know, should be raising like some of my best, you know, like some of my mediocre Badugis to my better Badugis, etc. Obviously 8 Badugi under the gun is really strong. Kind of unfortunate we're going to go 4-way, but obviously there's not much you can do. It's one of those situations where like I'm if I had to guess, I'm probably something like 2/3 favorite over the field here, but you know, I just got to go with it. Definitely can have a wide range here, and this, again, knowing that like this 2 to pat range is relatively wide, we just have to go ahead and 3-bet it. And it looks like this is a cap now. They might have capped it at 4 bets. This used to be 5 bets, so that might have been a change they just implemented in the software. And I expect Sharman to always be pat. Not folding an 8 Badoogie. Unfortunately, I feel like after it goes 4-bet, I feel like I'm just beat. And now Josh raises, which is kind of crazy. And then when he 3-bets, like I'm done with my 8. I was gonna call Sharman down, but once it goes like this, yeah, Josh has 6-4. So I mean, like that in itself is a crazy hand. Like I get dealt an 8 under the gun, and then 2 players drawing 2 both make 6s. Stud 8 or better here with the 3 suit, 2 low. So I have a6 with a 2 card low, and then 3 to a flush with no dead clubs. We're definitely going to continue here. So we're just going to go ahead and call. We make 3 clubs. Just going to go ahead and call here again. The only thing that I would do is like if Josh decided to re-raise here, I would go ahead and probably jam. Don't love the fact that he paired his door card. The only good news is that I have an ace in the hole. I do have a 6 low draw now, ironically, with it, and a 4 flush. So we're still going to call here in this situation. Hoping to make something. We do make the flush on the river. Most likely if Sharman bets, I think I'm just going to call and try to get Josh to call with like 2 pair or something. He actually made a low. Oh, I actually scoop. Oh, I thought Josh made a low. No, I actually scoop, so I got Josh to overcall with a I got Josh to overcall. But if I raise that river there, I'm like representing a flush a lot, and Josh can, I think, comfortably fold like 2 pair. So Sharman decided to bet 2 pair on that river. We can go back really fast. I'll pull this one up. Oh, I can't. You know what? That's the only thing. The replayer. I don't think I can go back. Oh, I can see the hand now. Interesting. Oh, they just changed it. So we can see that he had 8s and 7s and decided to bet the river, which I don't necessarily hate, but my board in some ways I think looks a little bit dry. And then Josh there too had, I guess we don't get to see Josh's hand, but looks like Josh made probably 2 pair too. 9-8-5 here. I think I might go for a steal if CT folds, because I just got to beat the queen, and then Josh has a deuce, and 2 to a suit, and then 3 relatively connected cards. I think I'm going to go ahead and just go for it. Josh catches the 3 of spades, and again, like I think he's just kind of playing this board. Like I don't think Josh really is necessarily has to be that strong here. I've kind of seen that, but when he catches 2, 3, 4, there's just nothing I can do, and I'm just going to check fold. Looks like it limped around. It's also really important in stud to like know the structure you're playing. So different stud games vary by different structures, and meaning like it's just more relative to the ante. So in some games you play with a bigger ante than others, and when you're playing with a bigger ante, you need to be a little bit more defensive. I mean, it's kind of very similar. Like if you play no limit or PLO, it's very similar. Like if you have a a big ante in the middle versus like say half of a big blind. Like if you have a half of a big blind, your strategy doesn't necessarily change that much. But if you have like a 1.5 big blind, your strategy should change a lot because you're fighting over a lot of dead money. I mean, like in PLO, if there's like a 1.5 big blind PLO, if there's like a 1.5 big blind ante in the middle, or if dead money, you just don't fold that a lot in the big blind. Jack 8-4 here, we fold. Blue opens with an ace. And like, yeah, you definitely should have some limps. Like I don't fault the 6 for limping in the situation with an ace behind and they're low, like 2 low cards behind. Like this seems fine. Blue catches a pretty gin card for her hand, the suited wheel card. Cadillac folds. And we're back, I think we're back to deuce. Did we start with deuce? I can't remember what we started with now. So play a little bit more. 2-5-7 here. No point in jamming in the big blind at a position. We're just going to call and draw 2. Catch 1 wheel card in a 2-2-2 spot. I mean, it's like I don't necessarily bet here all the time, but I also don't mind if I get jammed here. I also think too, like their ranges are probably a little bit wider than they should be, so I have no problem doing this. And it goes 1-1-1, which is kind of crazy to me. And I'm still going to just bet the 8-7-5. I don't love it. I mean, like, it's good. Like, I should be ahead of everyone here. And just pat. Josh pats. Wow, it goes pat, pat, pat. The only person I'm actually really worried about here is blue. I'm going to go ahead and bet, and if I lose, I lose. Yeah, I was... Oh, wow, they both had me beat, which is kind of crazy. I would expect Josh to have like a lot of 87s. But again, it's one of those spots where... Actually, you know, I probably could check fold a blue, to be completely honest. So maybe my best play is actually just check fold. Yeah, I think what I probably should have done there is just probably checked, and then if blue bet, probably fold, and if I check and Josh bets and blue calls, probably fold. Honestly, like my hand is what I have 7-5-4, so I think number 12, is that right? 8-7-5-4-2, because 8-7-5-4-3 is number 11, 8-7-4-3-2 is number 10. So yeah, I had number 12 there. Like, I mean. Yeah, I think in again, like I would say like in a higher limit game, there definitely would have been some more jamming there with the 86s. But again, the one person I'm definitely more fearful of there is blue, just when she pats back. I think she's just a little bit stronger. Oh, well played by blue. She kind of sneakily had a wheel there. Yeah, and there definitely is a little bit of trapping in this game with like wheels and stuff. Yeah, good hand by her. Nothing here with this one. Let's see what we got. Yeah, we'll play a little bit more. Don't see why not tonight. Blue looks like she's on a little deuce to 7 rush. I'm pretty sure she took 0 the previous draw. In that situation, I don't think Charmin should call and draw. The price he's getting relative to like the strength of Blue's hand, or like even any pat hand in general, is quite bad. I mean, I can't really think of a situation, unless you're planning on calling the river because you think your opponent's bluffing, that you're ever getting the right price in that situation. One. Interesting, Josh didn't bet 7s there. I thought Josh would definitely bet 7s there. So it's actually good to know he didn't. Sharman goes for a check raise in a 2-2 spot. Draws 1. Not a big fan of that one, especially out of position. Like, you're drawing the same amount of cards and you lose some of your playability just because you're out of position. Just rather go ahead and bet. And then Josh actually does the same thing and he bets in position. And the ace is going to win. Kind of a, I'd say that's a hand that was a little bit overplayed by both players. Deuce 3 here with the Phenom unless it does get 3 bet. So call and draw 3. Catch a 5. We're going to ditch the 9 if given the chance. Call. Interesting that Josh draws 1. He must have a really rough draw if he decided not to bet. I'm not going to give this a ton of credit, like a really strong hand, but I mean, there's nothing I can do. I have a wheel draw and I'm out of position, so I just got to draw. I mean, my guess is he's pad. Oh, he's drawing now. Interesting. And we make our old number 12 again, but again, we're going to go for the value bet in a 1-1 spot. And we do win this time. The 10 probably should overfold. He's got to beat the parlay of beating me and Josh, and I don't think I'm betting a hand that can beat him unless I'm bluffing, and Josh is not, I don't think, calling with a hand unless, now we're playing ace to 5. So again, the game changed. We got to take notice of that. But I don't think I'm bluffing a hand. I have to be bluffing and Josh has to be calling with a worse hand than a 10. I think that's pretty optimistic. Go 0-2, and most likely Sharman's going to win this one. Uh, 3-4-7 here on the button. If folded to, I'll probably open, but fold to any action in front of me. And it goes 4 ways. Interesting. Now, I would definitely say, like, almost any player except for maybe Sharman in this situation should have an ace in their hand. Again, it's just, you need those aces to make, you shouldn't be drawing in like these situations to the ace. You should already have it, unless you're Sharman opening like something like a deuce 3-4 or something like that in early position, which is fine. But, wow, it goes 2-2-2-2, and all HELL breaks loose. Wow. Goes 1-2 pad 2. We get a check raise, which is crazy. And I mean, Sharman's representing Wheeler like number 2 at this point. And I mean, kind of has some protection with CT behind him. So, I mean, most likely he has it. What is going on? I'm kind of stunned. Yeah, trying to catch my thoughts here for a second. I mean, that pot was just way over-bloated. Like, there was just so much money in the pot that like, Sharman should never keep an 8, and the fact that he played that so hard is I guess he's trying to push, just trying to get Django to fold something because CT's in the hand. So if CT's still drawing, his 8's a pretty big favorite over it. But again, it's one of those things where, like, the parlay of everything that has to happen right has to go your way. But I'm shocked that one Django ended up with, I mean, a 7-5, and I'm more surprised that Sharman showed up with an 8 there. Ace deuce 6 under the gun here. We're going to open. We ditch the 8s. I mean, Charmin just might also not know the relative strength of their hands. So, like, I'll give him a little bit of credit to that. But, yeah, I mean, if you know a wheel's 5 4 3 2, like, yeah, and 8 is a long way away from that. One spot with the 10, I'm going to break the 10 and draw to the 6 just because I have playability. Like, my equity is relatively the same. This is close, but I mucked 2 8, so I'm just going to call with 7 6 here. I actually get pipped by 7 5. But if I pat the 10, there's really like not much I can do with the 10. But if I make like a 6, a strong 6, or like a 7 there, I can put more bets into the pot. Knowing that I had 2 8s in my hand, though, it's less likely he made an 8 and made like more of like a 7 or a bluff. So I think now Josh limps here and we have ace 3 4. We're going to open. We're going to raise. Yeah, and Charmin's drawing 4, so maybe he's just on tilt. We make a flush, unfortunately. And we're going to go ahead and check here because we didn't improve. Again, Josh has got that raise any button on, which I don't recommend. And we don't improve. Got that raise button on again. If I was ever going to draw 2 again, this might be the spot. Against a limp range and a draw 4 range, but I still don't think I'm getting the right price to it, so I'm just going to fold. Man, I'm going to 3-bet the deuce 4-7 in this situation just because I've seen Charmin like show up with so many random stuff, and I mean, he drew 4 last hand too, so he's drawing 1 this time. Josh draws 3. Josh is, I think, just calling way too much here, and usually I would fold this hand pre-flop, but my opponents are kind of going crazy. And even this hand, like, I don't think is like really necessarily a drawable hand, but I'm gonna go ahead and call and see if I can make a 7. And we're gonna check now, and we're gonna just check fold. Wow. Yeah, like Charmin has a 9 there. Yeah, my guess is Charmin just doesn't understand the relative strength of the hands there. Like, he has a wheel draw, he should just be drawing at the wheel. Easy open here with a 3 against an ace and deuce of 7 rounds. Again, best hand 7 5 4 3 2. You want to get off the straight draws. This is one of the best starting hands you can have in this game with the deuce 4 7. Open this one. Josh 2 bets. We're going to 3-bet Josh with this one. And we're just going to, I'm just going to keep going. Catch the 3. Catches the 8, catches the 7, he catches the queen. I make a wheel, and he's just gonna fold now, I guess. Yeah, he folds. I could check theoretically, but again, I turn my hand face up, and I just want to get the action when I have it. Obviously, kings here would just fold. 2-5-2 if Charmin folds. I mean, honestly, I kind of want flat Charmin, to be honest, if he decides to raise in that situation. Josh calls with a king, kind of not surprised. Got a 10 draw against a jack draw. He folds. Sorry, we're playing kind of fast here. Part of that is the fact that Josh and I have played a lot of deuce rouse hands against each other. Ace in the hole here is, excuse me, not defending, we're folding. We're going to just fold this one too. Rough 9, especially against blue open. Josh says bye-bye. Limit Omaha. I guess we'll play this. Play the limit Omaha. Actually, we'll play the Deuce and we'll I think call it a video. These are pretty much my two favorite games. I like Omaha 8 and I really like Badusi in general. So if we can get through the games, we'll play them. Yeah, if there's any game that you guys also want me to see, if there are any games that you want me to play, I can make a video on. Just let me know. Jack 3-4-6 against blue. I'm gonna take just to play a little more aggressively against her, I think. 2-3-7-9 here. That 9's a really bad card, so we're just gonna muck. If it was double suited, I would most likely open it. Now the Jack King 9 here is a fine defend in the big blind, but against a against a 3-bet, my hand actually goes up in value. The thing is though, like Sherman's range could be pretty wide. So against like a normal 3-bet of what like an actual 3-betting range should look like from the small blind, the Jack King 9 actually becomes a defend. But against a player like Sherman who probably has a really wider range, it's actually a little bit closer because he might be like 3-betting high hands, but obviously on this board with 3 to wheel out there, I just have to fold now. King Jack. Jack 8-9-6 here. We're just gonna muck. Middling cards are just not great. Badusi here we have 4 to wheel with a 3-card 7. We do have a Jack Badugi, but it's just better to draw. Plus you have plenty of fold equity by just taking 1. Brick the first one. Now it is somewhat notable to note that we had the Jack of Spades in our hand. Just on later street, if we catch, like we pair one of the cards that we break, well, we just made number 1. No, we didn't make number 1. We made a 7 and a number 1. Number 1 low with a 7 doogie. I thought we made a 5 doogie. We did not. We get check raise, which is beautiful. We're going to go ahead and 3-bet this one. And I expect to scoop unless he's got like a random 8 low with a 6 Badugi or something like that. Nope, he's got a Jack. Jack in that situation there, I think in a 1-1 spot, I think probably just should check call and show down if he wants to play that way. I think it's just a little too much. It's a little too much action to play that way. As you can see, like I got to 3-bet him in position. You definitely, that's like his hand. He doesn't want to put 3 bets in. He'd rather just put 1 bet in, and like checking is totally fine. And we're gonna fold this one. Nothing here. That'll get all the formalities out of the way right now. I'll just say, obviously thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe. If you want to open a Phenom account, again, there's a link down in the comment section below. Click on that, sign up there. Helps me, keeps me motivated to make the videos. And yeah, if there's any games you guys want to see me play, or if there's any topic you guys wanted me to dig into, I'm kind of debating like in the future if I should, ooh, nice hand here, number 3. So 6-5-3-2 Badugi and 7-6-5-3-2 low. Debating if I should have like maybe some of my friends come on or talk about anything. More than happy to do that. But again, I want to make this channel more of a introduction to people who like really don't understand mixed games that well or want to learn about mixed games. I'm not super big on the idea of going into high depth theory here. Like you'll randomly see me do something and maybe I'll explain it for that purpose, but again, I just want to introduce, I want to give as many videos as I can out there for people who just want to learn to play mixed games. And I think we got one more hand. We'll play the 3-5-7 here. Do you get 3-bet? And we will call. And we catch the, we do improve to the 2-3-5-7. We catch a 9 low, but we're going to break the 9 low. Going to try and improve one if not 2 ways. He pats, we make a wheel. We make a wheel and a 3 card, but we're going to go ahead and check raise just in case he's got like a really bad 3 card or like a 2 card or something like that. But obviously we can't do anything else really with a wheel. He had 10-10. Most likely he had the 10 Badoogie. And yeah, we'll just kind of end it there for now. But yeah, as always, just want to say thank you everyone for watching. I'll play this one right here. Call 3-7. Discard 3. Catch an 8. Go and draw the 8. 3 card 8. Takes 1. Prove to 10-10. And this is again the situation where like in a 1-2 spot, like, and I make 10-10. I basically just want to freeze in this spot. Like I just want to call, and hopefully he's not pat. Hopefully he still takes 1. Yeah, because that means I still have equity at least one way. So I'm going to just pat the 10-10 behind. Call a bet if he bets, and if he checks, I'm definitely going to bet. I mean, definitely could have a 3 card in this situation. Don't expect to get check raised too much here. And he does fold, so we win that one too. All right, guys, have a good one. Yeah, good luck at the tables. Have a good evening. Play well, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.